Alright, it's Mike Redacted. Some of you may only know Oblivion as that game where all the funny memes and the NPC music comes from, but to me, it is the best Elder Scrolls game and possibly even the best Bethesda game which has ever been. That's not just rose-tinted glasses or nostalgia talking, although I will admit that I played the hell out of it when I was a kid. There's just some sort of magic or secret ingredient which makes Oblivion just that much better and more special than Skyrim. I really love Skyrim, don't get me wrong, it's my most played game on Steam. I've put a ridiculous amount of hours in it and I definitely do love it. Not trying to discredit it here, but there's just some things that Oblivion just does so much better than Skyrim does, and that's what we're going to go over today. We'll talk about the main story in a little bit, but just to give you a quick rundown of the start of the game, basically you're a guy in a jail cell. As all Elder Scroll games begin, you're a guy in a jail cell for some unknown reason. Then the Emperor walks in and he's like, oh shit, I know you, I saw you in a wet dream that one time. And then you follow him through the sewers and then he turns round at you and is like, hey, I'm about to die. And then some guy comes and stabs him in the back. And that's basically the TLDR of the beginning of the game. The game is set in Cyrodiil, which is the province which is at the centre of Tamriel. It's kind of like the main province, I guess you could say. Cyrodiil is a very beautiful place and I love the art style of the game. When the game first came out, you may not believe it, but when the game first came out in 2007, people were saying that it's got amazing graphics and it looked so beautiful, lovely colour patterns and colour palettes, stuff like that. Although the game may look a little bit dated, I still love the visuals of the game. The sunsets are beautiful, the forests, the sea. There's so many beautiful biomes in this game. Everything from snow-capped mountains to seaside cities all the way to swamps in the south. And I think that makes the map quite a lot more interesting than Skyrim, where Skyrim is like tundra or literal Arctic wastes. Oblivion has the variety of the biomes, and to complement these beautiful biomes in the game and lush forests and areas, the soundtrack of the game by Jeremy Soule is absolutely fantastic. The best soundtrack in a game ever. It's no coincidence that the NPC music and quite a lot of the other music which is in the game is still used in memes and other forms of media today. It's so iconic, it's amazing, and it fits perfectly with the setting of the game. Skyrim's soundtrack was also really good with bangers such as Secunda. I don't even know if I'm saying that right, to be honest. But there was just not as many bangers in Skyrim's soundtrack as there is in Oblivion's. I have mentioned this in a previous video, but the NPCs in Oblivion all followed the Radiant AI system. This basically means that every single NPC, or almost every single NPC, all has a place and a time to eat, sleep, and do other things like going to the bar, going to the temple. They all follow some sort of schedule. So when you're walking around town, you see it's 9 PM and you see that they're all at the bar together. And this just gives the extra level of realism to the game that perhaps other Bethesda games don't have. I know there was a lot of problems with it and in the implementation, including some NPCs going and doing completely and utterly insane bizarre things like walking across the map every single day. But I just think the Radiant AI system being implemented in the game just adds so much to it. Moving past the Radiant AI system, the NPCs themselves are fairly fucking nuts and eccentric, and I think that's a great detail to have in this video game. I don't know whether it was intentional or not, probably wasn't intentional. I think the game was trying to take itself quite seriously at the time it was released, but there's some charm about the NPCs and their dead little eyes and plasticine faces when they're spewing absolute nonsense, not unlike I am doing right now. There's also a good variety of side quests and guild quests in the game. The Dark Brotherhood, the Thieves Guild, the Fighters Guild, the Mages Guild. Each of these guilds has its own unique and exciting questline. Perhaps apart from the Fighters Guild, it was a little bit boring, although it wasn't just so cut and dry as you would expect it to be. There still is a little bit of spice in there. It just feels like with Skyrim, the quest lines and the guild quest lines just hold your hand a little bit too much. In Skyrim, in order to get into the Dark Brotherhood, you just go to Winterhold and they're all like, oh yeah, if you want to join the Dark Brotherhood, there's some guy trying to get someone assassinated. Yeah, he's over here in this house. Just pick the lock here. No, actually, I have a spare key. But in Oblivion, it's not actually strictly told to you unless you get lucky and someone tells you a rumour about it. But if you murder someone, the next time you sleep, Lucien Lechance will come and talk to you with his silky smooth voice and invite you into the Dark Brotherhood. Honestly, I want to do a whole video about the Dark Brotherhood in Oblivion, so I won't go too much in depth into it right now, but there is a quest in it. The basic premise of the quest is that you're all locked in a mansion, a whole load of people that don't know each other, and there's some gold that you need to find, but obviously you know, because you're the assassin, that there actually is no gold, and all of these people need to be killed one by one. There is an extra reward and a bit of a challenge to be gained if you make it so none of the other people in the mansion realise that you're the killer. This leads to some interesting interaction and dialogues where you can blame other people, frame other people, or do what I did and just leave some poisonous apples lying about and they basically just eat them and kill themselves. This shows the excellent point that when it comes to Oblivion's quests, there just seems to be a little bit more choice and a few more options that you can do to achieve your goal. Oblivion seems less rigid than Skyrim does in this regard. I feel like Skyrim was maybe dumbed down, maybe not the words dumbed down is the word I want to use, but simplified for a wider audience because Bethesda realised we make more money when we sell our stuff to more people, so let's make our product usable by more people. Oblivion's main story is no different than the quests themselves. It may be a bit weaker, I guess, than some other campaigns out there, but I still really love it. You're not the chosen one, Martin Septim is. You're just a guy that helps Martin Septim get to where he needs to go, get the Amulet of Kings back, and get him on the throne. Or that's what you're meant to do. You're meant to try and get him on the throne, but ultimately he dies in some dragon fight with Mehrunes Dagon. The DLC of the game is amazing. Apart from the horse armor started untold horrors beyond our comprehension of loot boxes and shit like that. It's just unfortunate. The Knights of the Nine DLC and the Shivering Isles DLC are so good. The Shivering Isles and the Knights of the Nine DLC are absolutely amazing. Maybe the Knights of the Nine is the weaker of the two, but the Shivering Isles takes the player to an all new world with all new plants, fauna, flora. Everything is new and it is so detailed with its own side quests, locations, dungeons and everything in between. It could almost be its own game. The main quest of the Shivering Isles DLC is also almost better than the main quest of the main game itself anyway. It's way more exciting and extravagant. Even the payoff of the main story of the DLC is better than the main story itself. You don't just get some shitty armor which you've already surpassed, you get to be a literal god. Oblivion really is the best Elder Scrolls game, and as I said, perhaps even the best Bethesda game. There isn't much competition. It's certainly not going to be superseded by fucking Starfield now, is it? Skyrim is the main competition to Oblivion, and I think that what I've detailed here today just ekes it out just a little bit further on top of Skyrim. Thanks for watching everyone. I'm going to finish it off here rather abruptly. Please comment, rate and subscribe if you'd liked. I'll see you in the next one.